I don't usually talk about micro brands, but this watch had details that really caught my eye. This is a dive watch with insane craftsmanship on the bracelet, and it comes with a quick adjustment, also a layered sandwich dial, a thin case housing an automatic movement, and wearable on any size. What's not to love? My name is Keanu Curie, and I've been collecting watches for about 4 years now. I just turned 20, so if you want to see more videos from me, subscribe. This watch is called the Shellback, and it's from a watch brand called Tusenö. If you haven't heard of Tusenö before, they started in 2015 and had production sourced from Asia, Switzerland, and Sweden. But ever since 2020, they've had productions moved to Switzerland, and they produce solely mechanical watches. It's not uncommon for other brands, like even Rolex, to start watchmaking sourcing parts from multiple different areas before moving to Switzerland. But sometimes brands like Rolex will eventually buy out their part makers, making them completely in-house. The Tusenö logo is inspired by sea and lighthouses. The inspiration translates to their models because they produce mostly dive and sports watches. Starting out with an overview, this watch is about 40mm in diameter and about 47mm lug to lug. It's about 12mm thick and it houses an automatic movement. This movement is the Sellita SW200 movement. It's quoted to be around plus or minus 7 seconds a day with a maximum of plus or minus 20 seconds a day. By far my favorite part about this watch is the bracelet, but let's talk about the dial first. The Shellback features a sandwich dial. This is the process of layering luminous material underneath the dial and making cutouts on the dial itself. This is harder to do than putting indices and lume on the dial itself because it requires more precision and alignment. But honestly, I think it's really worth it for that 3D effect it gives. The smiley text at the bottom of the dial reminds me of vintage watches. My 1950s Tudor has smiley text and I really like it. The hands are big and legible. The hour hand is a skeletonized circle which further complements the sandwich dial. Everything about the dial is very unique and thought out. This watch does feature a date, but it doesn't stop it from being symmetrical. The date is recessed at the 6 o'clock position and I found it to be very legible while wearing. But looking outside of the dial, this watch comes with a rotating steel unidirectional 120 click bezel. The grip is solid and has a satisfying click to it. Better than Omega bezels if you ask me. There's a lume pip on the 12 o'clock, and did I mention that the lume on this watch is amazing? Probably one of my favorite features on this watch, but not my favorite. My favorite thing is the bracelet. Remember all the horrible things I say about Omega bracelets? Well, this watch does everything right. The links are a beautiful design. While they're not too busy, it feels very jewelry-like, and I really like the contrast of the luxury feel with the capable dive watch. The sharp but rounded angles on the links feel very modern but also very timeless, and it's a very cool look. The band itself starts at 20mm and tapers down to 18mm, making the whole package feel very balanced on the wrist. The clasp that holds it together is very solid with twin button release and has a quick adjust feature with 4 different positions. I love the feature of a quick adjust. I feel like every watch should have it, but especially dive watches. Whenever it's really hot and you need to extend it, or if you have a dive suit on, you need to extend it, or if you just want to give it to someone who has a slightly smaller or bigger wrist, you don't have to take out any links. I really like this feature. One more thing about the clasp is it has a hardness coating to it, which means that it's going to show less wear and tear over time. This is really important because in my personal experience, the clasp shows the most scratches and signs of wear because it's always coming in contact with like tables and stuff. Having this hardness coating is definitely going to improve it and make it more resistant to scratches. The bracelet is really great, and combined with its excellent specifications, this watch is really wearable on the wrist. This watch also comes with a rubber strap, but I don't have that to show you today. It does look good and it looks like your standard rubber strap. Let's talk about the bezel. The bezel is very good. The clicks are very solid, and the alignment on this specific model is better than those of any Seiko. I did notice there is a little back play, and that's to be expected at the more affordable price point, and it's definitely not as satisfying to turn as something like a Tudor Black Bay. However, one of the bezels is ceramic and fully lumed. I'd recommend getting that one because the one that I have today is the steel bezel, and this means that it's going to show more scratches and it's only going to have the 12 o'clock loomed. The overall design of this watch is very compelling. The lugs curve down slightly to hug smaller wrists, and it has polished edges that reflect the light. Tusenö has their very cool logo on the back of it, which I personally like because Sellitas aren't all that good to look at, so having it covered up by a cool design is something that I can get on board with. When it comes to open case backs, I really do love them on affordable watches because it really attracts new collectors. They've never seen a mechanical movement before, and just seeing that rotor go back and forth is really mesmerizing to them. But when it comes to people who are really into watches, I think that the see-through case backs become more relevant at the higher tier of watchmaking, when you really get to see the decorations on the movements. And in this case, this is a dive watch, so adding another sapphire crystal on the back would add unnecessary thickness to what is already a very solid watch. The crown is a good size and it's very easy to grip, and it has the guiding light logo for Tusenö. And I really like this because, you know, they could have done a plain crown, but this crown feels very decorated, but also very solid and easy to grip. Like I said, it's like the luxury feeling with like the capable dive watch. That's what I get when I feel this watch. It feels very solid, but very nice. I also love how this design comes in many different options, and my personal favorite would probably be the all black or the black and gilt. Every watch has its cons, and I don't think that this specific watch has cons that really hold it back, but they are something that you need to be aware of. I think that the bracelet is very strong. It is a very compelling point to buy this watch. However, the clasp can be a little bulky due to that on-the-fly adjustment. It's not a deal breaker for me, but I would be willing to pay more for a slimmer clasp, and that's just my personal taste in watches. Part of that taste is having a smaller wrist, so bulky clasps are a lot more apparent on my wrist, but if you had even an average sized wrist, this clasp won't feel as bulky to you. Number 2 con is this brand doesn't have a lot of heritage. They have a couple of cool watches in their lineup, but not like a diverse and wide collection. I would say that I'd probably get this watch and maybe their dress watch, but other than that, none of their other watches really speak to me. Tusenö doesn't have the background of timing the Olympics or being the first dive watch, and so you're not really getting any like cool major like brand factors, but it's nice because you're also not paying more for just the brand. If you're watching a video on this micro brand, you already know what you're getting, and let me tell you, this is one of the most competitive micro brands I've felt in hand. The last con I would give you is that the bezel is not fully loomed on this model, but it is on the ceramic model, and I'm not really sure why that is. I'm not a watchmaker, I don't know, but if I'm gonna get one, I'm getting the ceramic model because for the same price, you're getting what I would consider a better value. Before we get into if you should buy this watch or if I should buy this watch, make sure you're subscribed and like the video. It really does help out. I'm the one making these videos, and if you're enjoying them, that's the best way to give back. That's totally free for you guys. Should you buy this watch? Well, first off, you shouldn't listen to a guy who can't even buy alcohol yet to tell you how you spend your money. But let me tell you, this is a very solid watch for the price. I'll tell you if I would buy this watch, and the answer is yes. If I was looking for an affordable dive watch that had very high-end specs and just looked really pretty, this is the watch I'd be getting. The level of quality on micro brands under the $1,000 price tier is just skyrocketing. It's nice to know that you're not paying a lot of money for just the brand and that you're getting a really well-built watch that will last you forever. But you know I'm always 100% honest with you guys, and I'm the type of person, the silly type of person, to buy a watch with the name brand. I like paying more for a cooler name brand. That's what I enjoy. I don't buy homage watches. They just don't hit the same for me. And so, no, technically I would not buy this watch, but yes, it is a good watch, if that makes any sense. Do you think it's silly to overpay for the name brand of a watch? Are you going to pick this watch up? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.